What is the consequences of the band council in Kahnawake?
Well, when we look before the band council was here, the people lived collectively. Again, matrilineal means the Mullers have control over what happens to the land. But the band council brings in land privatization. And so then this puts the control of the land into the individual's hands, which is most of the time male. The male, through the policies that the elected band council enacts, is basically enacted given the fast track to devolution, because the band council creates things such as free trade zone, free trade agreements with Canada, with other provinces or other communities, and this basically turns Kahnawake into a development zone. And so through the elected band council, it changed the land from being free of fences and borders and individual ownership, which means as an individual, well, you can cut down all your trees, you can put landfill there and flood out your next door neighbor, and you have the complete right to do that because of the policies that the elected band council put into place. But the people who are, who are affected by such things, you got your land right next to somebody who's got a golf course on the 132, on the 138, and they're bringing in tons and tons of landfill, and that tons and tons of landfill poisons your land. And it not only poisons your land now, because there's so much landfill, the natural water, tributaries, ponds, swamps, stuff like that, are now forced into areas where it's unnatural. And so now the person who benefits from the band council's policy of privatization, who wants to do development, bring in a golf course and put all kinds of landfill there, is now compromising the person right next to them, where their land is now polluted, their land is flooded out. So what the band council has done, and what it does to the people, is it steals identity by basically applying to the lowest traits of humanity, human economic development. This is what the band council brings. And the band council brings economic development because, again, the British Crown set up the band council so they can negotiate with the band council all of our rights away. So the band council was set up, again, by the British Crown to so-called negotiate all of this away, to give it away, to sell it, to sell our land, to sell our rights, to sell our identity. So now this leaves the people of Kahnawake now not having control over what is happening to the land. When we look around us, we see development happening everywhere. We see people cutting down their trees, people bringing in the landfills. People are poisoning our Mother Earth, and this is what the band council has brought in upon our people. Prior to this, like we said, the young people today have no idea. As recently as the 1940s, that's not very long ago, that Kahnawake was almost all common land, commonly held by the collective. There was still a gate to the village of Kahnawake that the people would have their cows, let their cows out of the gates in the morning. The cows would come up here to where the quarry is. This was like where the cows would come and graze. And then in the evening, the cows would come back into the village and the people would close the gates. Hence, this is where the saying comes from in Kahnawake, "Wake me up when the cows come home." So this is what has been taken away through the de facto regime of the elected band council systems. The mothers being in control of what happens to our communities, to our people, to our land. Now who is in control through the elected band councils is that woman that every band council calls their queen. Because this is who they have their allegiance to, not to our people. Anybody in any band council can lie through their teeth to you and say that they are this native and that they're fighting for their people, that they've been fighting for their people forever. They're all liars. You cannot fight for your people by joining an entity that was designed as a genocidal mechanism by your enemy. You cannot find your freedom or your representation that way. So one of the biggest things that the Band Council has done to our people is the psychological mind change without knowing how the people have changed identity. That now you look on the land and the identity is no longer Kahnawake. It's elected Band Council. And elected Band Council means the same destruction and development that you see in Chattageek, that you see in LaSalle, that you see in Saint Constant, that you see in any other municipality. All the communities, the reserves that are dysfunctioning under elected Band Council system, you are a municipality.